Our last two events this year really took me back in time in some ways that I wasn't expecting. Uh, you know, in the old days, we used to fish in some of the worst weather you can imagine. There was no such thing as canceling a day of the tournament. And so, looking back on that, it made us really very familiar and very understanding of dangerous, rough water. And we got where we knew how to handle it. We knew what to do. And but nowadays, until this last couple of tournaments at Lake Champlain and St. Lawrence River, we don't go out in rough days anymore. And you say, well, did they let us go in rough days? They shouldn't. No, our boats and our equipment are so capable of handling it now. It's not the boats that usually will fail us. It's human error and the lack of experience in dealing with that kind of water. And water is powerful. I mean, it's so powerful, and you're not going to beat it. I mean, just look at the Grand Canyon and the things it's created. So I always try to keep that in my mind when I'm dealing with water. You got to go with it. You can't beat it. And it was amusing and interesting to me because at Lake Champlain, it was probably the roughest day I've been in 20 years. It brought back surprisingly some good memories. I mean, of how you choose your angles correctly, and you know going with them is more comfortable but more dangerous. Most people don't know that. Going against them is harder, but it's less dangerous. And so I was reading the water, and I was picking my angles. So when I got in that really big stuff, I could do what we call trough them, where you're not bucking them. You're actually going in the troughs, and it's really it's neat. But at the same time, I'm thinking, I've got so many young anglers around me that have never been in this. I even talked to several of them. Cody Huff, and I said, was this the roughest water you ever been in? He said, by far. And ironically, the next tournament, he even got in rougher water on Lake Ontario. And I basically, I didn't have time to teach him or the other kids what to do. I just said, number one is don't get in a hurry. Don't get in a hurry. And you know, that, again, like I said, and as Father Money said, your boat is not going to sink unless you make a mistake. And even then, it won't sink. I said, so trust your boat and take your time. The big water it fascinates me. I mean, you know, I've seen waves that you go down in a trough and another boat's over here and they totally disappear in another trough. And you wouldn't even see each other maybe for a quarter of a mile, and all of a sudden you'd pop up at the same time running parallel to each other. Me and my brother Randy Fight did that on Lake Ontario the year I won the smallmouth tournament there the first time. But let me just kind of give you, some tips. The thing is and it's usually, and here's the two most dangerous times of the year, is the most dangerous time of the year, surprisingly, the very first one or two tournaments of the year. Why? Because your energy's so high, your anticipation of the first event, getting to your spot and starting the year off good. It's most people go too fast. They just, even when it's not rough. Some of our worst incidents have happened when it wasn't bad weather, but it was because they were anxious and they were excited and they think they had to beat somebody to the spot. And I really try to, that time of year, I even tell, co-anglers and people that are riding with us, that's a time of year that you really need to hold on. Because I can't control other people's energy and emotions. The one thing here I always tell my partner, and I suggest if you're a boater, you do the same thing. In the morning when you start off, look at him, say, hey, if you see something and you don't think I see it, something floating in the water, another boat you don't think I see, tap my shoulder and point at it. Because I'd always rather see it twice than not see it at all. And your partner can be a big help. And a lot of them are afraid to say anything. Don't tell him so he's comfortable, talking to you. There's some just small things too. Don't have anything in the bottom of the boat that's loose. You get partners that got bags. Make sure you can put everything away. Only time I've ever seen a partner of mine get hurt a little bit and it was mostly when I was guiding, is when they'd have a can or something in the bottom of the boat, and you'd hit some waves, and all of a sudden the can and they start to reach for it, and you hit another wave, and they bump their head in the console or something. No, the only thing you want to worry about in rough water or when you're running, it doesn't always have to be rough. These boats go 70 miles an hour. You can be on flat water and hurt yourself. And so don't have anything in the bottom of the boat that's loose. The only thing you worry about is your own body, taking care of it. There's all kinds of lakes we fish. We fish timbered lakes. We fish lakes they're narrow. We fish lakes you got to run boat. You have to run boat lanes and stuff like that. And it's just like driving a car. And you've got to use 360-degree awareness at all times. You just can't focus straight ahead. Helmets hurt you in that respect. A lot of guys wear helmets. And yes, they have good qualities, but it gives you focused vision. And another thing, and this one, a lot of manufacturers are going to be a little upset, foot pedals. Most guys run foot pedals. Foot pedals are bad for you. If you like a foot pedal, there is a combination where you can have a foot pedal and run it and when you want, but you can also switch to nothing but a throttle. When do you switch to a throttle? When you're going to take a bunch of hits on your back. Because here's the biggest problem, and all the industry's guilty of it. I'm not picking on any one boat company because they all do it. Is you see when you sit in your car, most boat seats are designed after automotive industry. Your knees are higher than your butt. A boat should be just the opposite. Your butt should be higher than your knees. Why? Because then you can use your legs in rough water. Okay? And so what I do, I get a little cushion of some type, put back here, so I do raise my butt up higher than my knees. Especially now when I'm not as young as I used to be, where I can use my legs. Because I don't want to do the math right now, but if you fish, even like some of the local boys here that fish a tournament every weekend, you'll hit 1 million waves in a year. 1 million. I hit a lot more. And I said, and each one of those is an impact on your spine. So do something to help your spine. And that's why I don't like the foot pedal, because it forces you to sit. Even when you hit a big wave, you got your foot on the foot pedal, you're going to take the hardest lick on your spine. So really all I'm trying, and that's not everything, but it's just, I want to get you thinking the right way, because one thing I'm just as bad, especially when I was young as the others, I always remind myself, especially in the morning when you're taking off or when you're going through rough water, what good is it going to do me to get to where I want to go, even if I beat the other boat there, if I tore my troll motor up, if I've tore the depth finders off, or even worse, you tore your body up. So just, again, fishing is an incredible adventure. We run incredible equipment, but at the same time, it's dangerous, and you got to use your head.